Hello, dear viewers. While the other knuckleheads are banging on with Morrowind, I found this delightful game. Where are my manners? I am Silent, a retired professor from the university. My area of expertise lied in world history and myth. To understand the people, you must study their myths. Their history, of course, provides context and a backdrop to their culture. Alas, some of my students, like the knuckleheads with Morrowind, never bothered to pay attention. They were too busy talking about stats and rolling the dice, whatever that's supposed to be. This is an interesting game. Was never much of a, what do they call it, gamer. To chaotic, to complicated, and what do they get out of it? But my daughter recommended this game. Said it was simple enough, and it's about an old man telling a story to his grandchild. Where am I going? Are you trying to fetch water? And who exactly am I playing? Robin Hood. This is not a smart individual.
I had not been back there in years, but it was the last place left to look.
I certainly hope he has an exit strategy. Now what? My daughter did advise me to not think too critically. It's a game, not real-world history, she said. Like, why would they put a door here, in a well?
It was not exactly as I remembered it, but it wasn't all that different either. Two odd contraptions guarded the lost treasure. I would have to turn one and see what happened.
Seems simple enough. Well, presumably one of them just won't work. I don't think this game is wholly viable. Perhaps this is what we need to use. Oh God.
And that's what would have happened if I turned the left switch. But since I am here telling this story, you already know that I pulled them.
I was wrong. What is the point of the beds hanging down?
Even though the bed was very comfortable, this was no time to hide under the covers.
Do gamers really get a kick out of this sort of thing?
Wait. Hold on, Grandpa. I don't remember this part of the story. Beds hanging from stalactites?
We'll get there, Gwendolyn. Don't worry. No detail in this story will be overlooked. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. As I treaded through the river of rumbling trundles, I feared I knew the source of that deafening wind.
I have to agree with old Robin Hood here. Stories are not meant to be rushed. They're to be sampled in piecemeal.
Nestled beneath a slumbering pile of teeth and claws was...
Fabled mirror.
Oh, so you remember this part of the story.
Well, dragons are my favorite.
You want to tell this part?
Yes. King Edward sent me, the greatest knight in all of Daventry.
Her
on a
voice
quest
is
to
annoying.
return his stolen mirror. A gigantic, hulking beast of a dragon was the last thing in my way to...
Are you done?
My way, too. Add a shinier hat to my collection.
Right. Where was I? Ah, yes. Every scene in a story has its place, its purpose. How, for example, would you understand the Odyssey if you don't understand the Iliad, or the backdrop of the Greco-Trojan conflict that applies the context? So a scene that may not make sense in the beginning becomes a whole lot clearer once you read the whole piece. Good stories are not just mindless fighting and explosions, and they don't tell you everything from the beginning. So perhaps the beds on ceiling does serve a purpose here.
Volumes of old books with foreboding titles clutter the shelves of that strange bedroom. How to Tame a Dragon, Breaking the Spirit of Hideous Beasts, amateur spells to impress your friends with. No books about recovering missing handles, though.
It breaks my heart to see those books rotting away.
So, the missing handle was booby-trapped? What did you do?
Well, I used my cleverness to outsmart the trap. Then I used my cleverness to hide.
Absurd, but it is what it is.
Luckily, that half-blinded beast never noticed me in bed.
A dragon's eye must be really hard to pierce with an arrow. At archery lessons, I can barely hit a hay bale.
It is indeed a feat only for skilled archers.
What am I supposed to be doing? Ring a bell. I don't have a bow. What cruel, monstrous animals would just let books rot like that? Those books were possibly the last living reminders that their authors had even existed. It doesn't matter if they were childish. It is the last, final shout from an author long past. I was here, I existed. To let those books rot is to reject the author's reality, their presence, and, dare I say it, their humanity. What in God's name am I supposed to be doing? I had to get my daughter to help me with this segment. I don't understand how you gamers do this. Apparently, I need to explore a bit, see what I can find. Well, I've already gone down this path. What's this?
I tried to turn that crazy contraption, but it was missing a handle. Someone tampered with it, creating some silly conundrum.
What did you use to fix the broken switch?
Of course.
The dragon's chains were coiled around a gigantic switch mounted to the cave wall. This cave seemed to be filled with failed adventures.
Well, this is hard to watch. A chained animal trying to get out. I know it's a dragon. Dragons aren't real. But whoever did this will die by my hand.
After he briefly basked in the sun, the narcoleptic dragon went back to snoring.
I probably sleep all day too, if Amira was my only friend.
Not for long. If able, I shall release the dragon. Whatever it does after that, well, that's up to it. That was too close for comfort. Dadgummit. Okay. Should be a simple enough task. Slowly walk round these bone piles. Easy does it. How did it hear me? Well, I'll not wake up from that.
Wait a minute. Does this mean our family's immortal?
Oh, for God's sake.
Wait a minute. Does this mean our family's immortal?
No items here. That's it. Getting my daughter. Thank you, dear.
No problem.
Now, let us see what the next challenge is.
Whoever designed this trap thought they were pretty clever, but I would probably find a way to hit that unreachable switch.
Well, they'd better give me a bow. Oh God.
The mirror called out to me.
This should be relatively simple.
This feeding contraption was cobbled together to keep the beast and probably its owner alive.
Okay, so I need to get the meat to the other end of the cave. I just noticed that skeleton near the railing. I believe this is what the youngsters these days call a found. Find out. Here's my chance. Wait. How is he going to carry that out of the cave? His cloak is a TARDIS, apparently. This takes me back to my own youth. The day an eerie drought in the Colorado. It was 1988, a calm sunny day. I was a hot-headed man in my 30s, bold, arrogant. I had with me a kayak and some Budweiser, a deadly convoy. Now that I recollect, I was barely a quarter mile down the river until I misjudged a turn and capsized. Relying on instinct, I held onto the kayak, keeping my head as low as possible. And rather than fight the current, I attempted to steer along with it. Through sheer luck, I managed to grab a low-hanging branch. I managed to pull myself back ashore. Luckily, I hadn't gotten to terribly far from the starting point, and I was uninjured. But that was the first and last time I would attempt that. I say as my daughter is a marine biologist. Well, she's certainly smarter than her dear old dad. That was exciting.
With a magic mirror safely in my possession, I dreamt of the Daventry I would be rewarded with, and the kingdom it could become. Split second, I had three choices in front of me. Any would clear my path to safety, and all would have rippling consequences.
Now to release the dragon. But what do I hit? The bell will just make it go back for food. But would this work? But what if it just kills the dragon by choking it? I certainly don't want to blind the poor beast. Here goes. Wait, is it free? The chain did fall off. Well, go on. Get out of here. My work here is done.
My hands were shaking and my arms could barely grip the rope, but with the last of my strength, I climbed out of the well and headed back to the castle. Ever since the magic mirror returned, its reflections have warned the kingdom of danger, kept our family safe, and it has exposed many troublesome crumbs tangled in my beard.
Yeah. King Edward was so proud that you returned his lost treasure that he made you king. Everyone knows that part. Now, can we get back to that dragon?
Gwendolyn, there's so much more to my stories than dragons. I hope this old cap will be remembered for far more than the action tattered across its brim, sewn into the seams of many hidden adventures. All right, let's get back to the dragon.
Tell me everything. Like, why did you set the dragon free even though he was trying to eat you?
I set him free because, well, over the years I realized that the dragon was not the despicable, hideous beast Daventry had made him out to be. He was just a caged animal that was never shown any kindness. On that day, I forgave the dragon for his atrocious past.
You have such a bizarre way of making friends, Grandpa. I guess I do too. I'm known as Gwendolyn the Popular back home. But only to my stuffed bunnies.
I've always found it best to pursue friends where I can, though they don't always feel the same about me.
All right, you two. Grandpa needs to rest. Gwendolyn, it's way past your bedtime.
Sleep well, Grandpa. I'll be back first thing in the morning.
I don't need rest. I'm as spry as I've ever been, though I wouldn't mind a slice of magic fruit.